All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking some incredibly urgent and totally interconnected warnings from legendary investor Jeremy Grantham. We're looking at this rare, almost perfect storm of massive macroeconomic threats crashing right into a literal biological crisis. So, we're going to break down exactly what that actually means for you. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the biggest investment bubble, the wealth inequality crisis, the toxic baby bust, and finally, a concrete survival strategy. So, Section 1, the biggest investment bubble. And we mean the biggest one yet. To really grasp the gravity of this warning, you first need to understand exactly who it's coming from. Jeremy Grantham managed up to $165 billion of other people's money at his peak. I mean, that's huge. He spent 60 years successfully predicting market cycles and navigating historic market tops. So, when a guy with this level of historical insight says a crash is coming, well, it definitely pays to listen. Because the thing is, great world-changing ideas like railroads, the internet, and now AI, they almost always create these massive bubbles, which are then followed by devastating crashes. Grantham points out that a bubble isn't necessarily a scam, right? It actually happens around the most important ideas because everyone sees the sheer potential and just overinvests. We saw it with the Great Depression crash in 29, the Nifty 50 bubble in 72, Japan's massive 89 bubble, where their market essentially just flatlined for decades, the dot-com crash of 2000 that wiped out 82% of the NASDAQ, and now we're arguably looking at the biggest investment bubble in American history right now with AI. And Grantham is brutally honest about the financial industry itself here. Major Wall Street institutions, they are never going to warn you to sell. Why? Well, because fighting a bull market costs them their clients and their management fees. It's just lousy business for a big firm. Their incentive structure is completely misaligned with your long-term survival. So when that peak finally hits, you're pretty much entirely on your own to spot it. Moving right along to Section 2, the wealth inequality crisis, a fraying contract. The really crucial point is buried right here in this wealth distribution data. Notice how, since about 1975, the average worker's wages have essentially just stagnated, while the top 1% has scooped up nearly a third of all national wealth, 31%. Meanwhile, the bottom 50% of the entire population, they share a measly 2.5% of the wealth. This isn't just some abstract economic issue. It means everyday people are feeling totally squeezed, disgruntled, and completely disconnected from the broader economy's so-called success. And history shows us that when wealth inequality reaches these extreme levels, levels we honestly haven't seen since the Gilded Age of the late 1800s, the system inevitably resets. Historically, a massive wealth peak like this is broken by one of three pretty catastrophic triggers: total civil collapse and state failure, mass mobilization warfare, or total revolution. So unless peaceful, structural policy changes step in to gently shift the tax structure and rebuild the middle class, history kind of warns us that the resolution here is rarely smooth. Okay, Section 3, the toxic baby bust, a very real biological crisis. Now, this number is absolutely staggering. Human sperm counts are dropping at a rate of 2.5% every single year. Based on the data, we're literally tracking toward a median functional sperm count of exactly 0 by the year 2045. To put that into perspective, back in our hunter-gatherer days, humans had around 180 million units per milliliter. Today, it sits right around 35. We are fast approaching a reality where the average young couple is going to need significant medical intervention just to conceive. And Grantham explicitly links this rapid biological decline to our everyday environments, specifically to endocrine disruptors. These are chemicals like BPAs, phthalates, and PFS, often dubbed forever chemicals, that are just everywhere. They're in our plastics, cosmetics, nonstick pans, you name it. And what they do is mimic or block natural hormones, which actively crashes human fertility and disrupts fetal development right in the womb. Basically, we're inadvertently poisoning our own biology. When you look at the data objectively, the regulatory contrast between the US and the EU is just stark. The European Union has actually banned over 1,300 cosmetic chemicals because of toxicity concerns. The US FDA, well, they've banned a mere 11. Grantham points out that this directly correlates with the widening gap in life expectancy and the really tragic maternal mortality rates between the two regions. The environment you live in and the rules protecting it absolutely dictate your health. If you want to see what the future of a baby bust actually looks like in practice, just look at Japan. They've already experienced a massive 50% drop in their population of 20-year-olds compared to 1948. Which leads Grantham to pose this incredibly vital question. Do they really think the economy will function if the number of 20-year-olds entering the market starts to drop like a stone? He ties our biological reality directly back to our economic survival. I mean, a declining population means fewer people forming families, buying houses, or driving innovation. It inevitably means a shrinking workforce and a permanently stagnant economy. You simply can't have infinite compound growth with a crashing birth rate. It just doesn't work. This brings us to Section 4, the survival strategy. These are the micro-actions. So Grantham offers this highly specific survival toolkit for us. Step 1. Diversify into fixed-income government bonds and cash to lock in a guaranteed yield and some much-needed safety. Step 2. Get out of the dangerously overvalued U.S. stock market and look at non-U.S. stocks, places like Europe or emerging markets, which are priced way more reasonably. Oh, and he strongly advises avoiding crypto entirely. And Step 3. Detox your environment. Eat organic foods to dodge pesticide exposure and completely avoid cosmetics, especially during pregnancy, to protect the next generation. To really understand why detoxifying matters so much, take a look at this Harvard study. They tracked patients at a fertility clinic and found that those eating the highest quartile of pesticide-heavy foods had a 38% birth success rate. But the folks who simply switched to organic produce and avoided the so-called dirty dozen pesticides, their clinical fertility success rate nearly doubled to 68%. It just shows that the micro-action of changing what you eat can have a profound macro impact on your family's future. Ultimately, we hope this explainer has empowered you with the stark facts and leaves you asking yourself one critical question. If the institutions meant to protect your wealth and your health are incentivized to just look the other way, how will you adapt before these interconnected bubbles finally burst? Seriously, think about the steps you can take today to build your own lifeboat, whether that's adjusting your portfolio, demanding better products, or simply changing what's on your dinner plate. Stay curious, stay prepared, and we'll see you next time.